1997, there hasn't been a single occurrence of Indian wolves attacking children. But 30 years down the line, we have another such incident.
They just look for an opportunity, what's there to pick up. And if they have learned this once or twice, they will realize that it's very easy to pick up kids in that particular landscape.
Pack of wolves has killed about 7 children, all in the same cluster of villages in the Bahraich district in Uttar Pradesh. Now, this has really surprised many, and we have with us a senior wildlife scientist, Dr. Bilal Habib from Wildlife Institute of India. He has done extensive research on the Indian wolves. Sir, thank you so much for joining here on CNN News 18.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. So, Dr. Habib, my first question to you is what millions of Indians are now wondering. What really led these Indian wolves to attack children? You know, something that's not really reported, and it seems to be a very rare occurrence.
Yeah, it's a rare occurrence, and it mostly depends upon the local circumstances at that particular place. Like if you see this particular place, it's sort of a place where there's a lot of cover outside houses, the sugarcane fields, the other sort of a vegetation, and this is a season in our country where wherever you will go, you will see some cover. And there's a wolf pack present in that particular landscape, and this pack seems to have adapted to this cover and trying to reach very close to the human houses. So when they are very close to the house, and they just look for an opportunity, what's there to pick up. And if they have learned this once or twice, they will realize that it's very easy to pick up kids in that particular landscape. Because so this is a time when weather is very hot and humid. Most of the people sleep outside. Most of these young ones, they sleep outside with their mothers. The houses don't have doors. Okay, and they are very close to the like sort of an rural setting where there's a cover around, where there are wolves around, and whether there's no light, no electricity, houses without doors. So all these circumstances lead to the situation where it's very easy for wolves to pick up the children. So I think that's a main reason. And if they just got this once, which probably was by chance, probably they realized that it's the easiest prey to pick up. So I think that's the reason behind this in this particular landscape.
So, like you said, children are the easy prey. But what is it that the wolves usually prey on? What is the prey base like? And why
Yeah.
it is usually these villages which have become the targets for these animals?
So if you see in our country, so the wolves go from hares, which are as small as 2 to 3 kgs, to the fastest mammal in our country, which is a black buck. So they can hunt a range of species. They can pick up goats, they can pick up sheep, they can go for piglets. Now, what is happening? This exactly is after 8 to 9 months of the birth of the young ones. So the young ones will be something around 8 to 9 months now, because in our country, the young ones are born in the month of December, Jan. So if this litter was born in the month of December, Jan, they will be 9 months. It's a monsoon season. The capture of the wild prey becomes more difficult, and it becomes more difficult in agriculture landscape. And what's the option? Option is to look for something which is very easy. Okay, and that's what it is.
Right. So, like the Forest Department of Uttar Pradesh says, there are 6 animals in the pack. 4 have been captured, and 2 are still on the prowl. And like you were saying, that once they have preyed on the children, they are likely to attack again. So, what is the action that needs to be taken now? How can we prevent these attacks in future and actually protect the children?
So two very simple strategies, which probably may work in that particular landscape. Is first is let's protect children. Okay, so all those families who have children in a smaller villages probably should be put together. Okay, so if there's a one house which is probably safe, so let's think that we will have all the families, all the females with children in that particular house. So that eliminates the attack on these particular children. But on the other hand side, if you look from the wolf's perspective, they're also hungry. They're not getting food, and once they are killing these children, they're not able to eat. They are able to eat only a small part of a portion, And now there's a lot of people behind these wolves. They're also chased from one landscape to other landscape. So they're running like anything. So under these circumstances, they will need more food. They will try to have more attacks on the humans. So under such circumstances, what's the best? On one side, just try to protect the children, and on other hand side, try to bait these animals. Okay, keep some baits outside in open landscape and allow these animals to kill those baits. So if they are fed, probably the attack on the children will reduce, and that also gives you a chance to capture them.
Right. So, Dr. Habib, there is also some kind of a speculation, if I say, may say, is going around that these are hybrid wolves. We know that dogs have essentially, evolved from wolves, but what is the likelihood of these happening, these being hybrid wolves? And even if they are, what difference does it make? If you, as a scientist, could help us understand what's the difference between the two, really? Because wolves have really known to be very elusive animals, and a lot of
Yeah,
people not really don't
yes.
know much about
They,
them.
yeah, they are elusive, so there is no second thought in that. And they're only see 90% of full population in our countries outside forested area. They're outside protected areas. So they are only surviving because of their elusive behavior and because of their intelligence to survive in human dominated landscape. So the other important aspect is whether they are hybrids or not. So if you look the wolf genetics, our Indian wolf is one of the most ancient wolves in the world. Okay, that's where all the wolves of the world have originated from. Now we consider, so all the dogs originated from the wolves. Okay, but dogs have not originated in India. Okay, so the Indian wolf is an ancestor of all the wolves of the world, but some other wolf was used to breed the dogs. So if you now consider the genetic scale, so our wolves are at the extreme end. So that's why you have black wolves in US, you have black wolves in Canada, you have black wolves even in our Himalayan areas like Ladakh, but you have never seen a black wolf in peninsular India. This is the first time in 2023, the first black wolf in peninsular India was seen somewhere near Pench, somewhere near Panna Tiger Reserve. So that's the first
Madhya Pradesh.
example, Madhya Pradesh. So that's the first example of a black individual in a population. So occurrence of a black individual in a population is an example of hybridization. So people think that yes, when dogs go back, they breed with the wolves. There's a chances that the first thing they give back to the wolves is the color. Okay, so they changed it because the color in dogs is a artificial selection. It's done by the humans. Otherwise, naturally, all the dogs, if there was a natural selection, it would have been gray. But the selection is done by the humans. That's why you have a variety of dogs. You have a variety of dog colors. You have a variety of dog faces. People have selected them for the size. People have selected them for the shape of the faces. People have selected them for the color. So these are the variations. Now, if these dogs start breeding back with the wolves, the first thing which is there is the color, and that's why we had a one example of the black wolf in Panna this year. Now if there was a hybridization 10 years 20 years before in this particular landscape, then these events will not be once in 20 years, because if a hybridization happens, it's a continuous process. Okay, so the hybrids are more dangerous, more risky, they are more elusive. And since they have a character of both the dogs and wolves, so they will be able to live in that particular landscape in a far better way. Okay, but it has happened in 20 years before, it's happening now. So there's a chance, but I don't suspect that this pack is a hybrid pack. Okay,
Right.
because it looks like a wild pack, but what it's because of the circumstances which allows them to take children's. Okay, and this is exactly the time when the age of the young ones will be around 8 9 months. They require more food. The landscape outside this particular villages, like there is a water in a lot of areas, it's a waterlogged area, it's a very difficult to capture the natural prey, and this and that difficulty probably put all this together, have more children more vulnerable.
Truly, truly. No wonder the villages around the Bahraich district are, they're having sleepless nights to protect their children. And like you were saying, these are clever animals. It'll be very difficult to capture them, but that should be the essential goal. And I think uplifting the livelihoods of the rural communities so that they have houses with doors, and where they, they have
So
power
that's
and
that.
electricity.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a larger question. So exactly, it's that societal differences which makes these people more prone. So if probably we work on these particular aspects, I don't think we will have such incidents in future.
Dr. Habib, as a wildlife scientist, I would also request your opinion on. I mean, there have been an incident reported where other animals are being targeted because they are very much similar in comparison to a wolf. Like, there was an incident in Bihar where a jackal was killed. So, what do you have to say to the people in a scenario like this? What kind of measures they can take while protecting their life
Say
and that of their children?
99% of the wild animals, they avoid humans, even if they share the landscape with you. So I don't think wild animal is a threat until there are some circumstances which make them that. And considering those circumstances, if there is a threat to the human life because of, say, a pack of wolves, like as a wildlifer, I should not say that, but the process is to eliminate that pack. So there can be a mechanisms, like if you are able to capture those particular individuals, capture those individuals, or do something else. Because I don't want to sacrifice the species for a pack, because wolves can only survive in India if they are tolerated by humans. Okay, we can't have a humans against the wolves. It's impossible because 90% of the habitat between the humans and wolves is there is a overlap in our country. So we can't have a situation where we are against them and they are against us. Okay, we may manage to survive, but they will never manage to survive under these circumstances. So the best is we have to think about the human interest. Okay, if there's some conflict, try to eliminate that particular conflict, even if it involves the sacrificing one or two individuals of that particular pack, or sacrificing that pack for the larger conservation goal of the species. So that's a very because I say that the best wolf habitat is in human heart. Okay, so we can't have humans against them. So that's the most important aspect we have to visualize. So this thing should end as soon as possible. There should not be too much negative thought about that wolves are like a species who want to kill humans. This is an incident which happens once in 30 years, once in 25 years. These incidents can come and go, but these animals, they have to share habitat with us. So we have to take care of that.
Right, the animals and humans have to coexist, and like scientists have been really pointing out that we live outside these forested areas, and it's important that because most of them live in these landscapes which are now human dominated, it is important to coexist and treat accordingly. Dr. Deep, thank you so much. On a parting note, any advice for the people? Because there are a lot of people who are watching these videos as two of the animals are still on the prowl.
You see, 99%, I don't think wolves are going to attack. They're so dangerous, like what we see. Yes, they live these kids. It's the requirement which this particular pack has learned. So department is doing the best to capture them. Okay, but they are very intelligent animals. It may take little bit of time to when these two individuals are say when we are able to capture them. But for the people, they need to have a patience and they need to protect the children. Okay, do some arrangements. So if people take a bit of a responsibility of protecting the children, the department will have a better options to concentrate on trying to capture these animals. So department can't run 10 different places and try to, they are doing their best, but they should get more time to focus on the strategies to capture these animals, because these animals are far more intelligent than what we think about them. So it's like playing a hide and seek game with them and defeating them in that particular game and trying to capture them. So that department should get that time, and it's a job of time and it's a patience. Okay, and I think the people will be patient, and department, it's a persistence and patience both. You have to be there and you have to be patient. It may take 10 days, it may take 12 days, but it's a real test to the people who are there in the field. Like it may be too much. Imagine the weather, the rainy season, the situation. The areas may not be accessible where these animals will be going. It may not be accessible to the people. Okay, but these animals will be easily going to that area and coming back. So it's a difficulties because of the weather situations, because of the present circumstances in that particular landscape. May take a little bit of a time, but ultimately, I think the department will be able to capture that.
Indeed, it's a challenging endeavor for the Forest Department, but a
Yeah.
very testing time for the residents of these villages in Bahraich district in Uttar Pradesh. Dr. Habib, thank you so much for sharing these insights with us on CNN News 18. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.